everyone. Welcome to Moonride. This is Dave Johnson on my series of interviews, Fun with Spiritual Pals. I want you to say hello to one of my favorite spiritual pals. That's Sheila, right? And Sheila, we can get a hold of you through Celtic Tarot Sheila, your channel, right? And you can get more information. But please know that Sheila is not taking appointments at the moment. She will in the future. When will you be taking them?
In the fall, I will revamp all of my stuff and I will be taking up doing tarot readings and things like that, personal readings in the fall.
Terrific. So this is not going to be a political channel. I really did this because I want people to feel a little bit of positivity, feel a little bit of upbeat stuff, and go more for spiritual information. But we're going to call today's news spiritual because I think there is a spiritual component to some positive political developments. Sheila, what happened today?
Oh my gosh. For all those who follow political, you know who Marjorie Taylor Greene is, and she called to try to remove the Speaker of the House because she all kinds of mad that she hasn't gotten her way. And while she was doing it, she got booed. Booed from both sides, her people and their people. And she's like, this is the uniparty. And I'm like, yeah, isn't that what we're supposed No. It sounds like a good idea. But anyway, she got booed, and that was just joyful.
Yes. How do you manage the stuff so that you can stay in a positive light?
Mm, that's a very good question. Number one, being boots on the ground, especially in America, we get to probably hear a lot of great advantages. Politically, with the Gen Z, they're going to take a tour around the America and they're going to stop in red states and red counties and they're going to be doing their thing. So we know that the Gen Z is still on board and everything else. I'm watching so many people wake up and be. I mean, before, when we were doing this back in the day, we maybe found maybe five or six people throughout the whole state that was doing, being in the metaphysical and but now there's just such a huge community of this, not only on YouTube but around the world. And even metaphysical fairs, they're just shoulder to shoulder. There's just so many people that are there. So I kind of hold to that. Like that whole theory is, the more energy we gather, the more energy we gather. Have you ever felt like that? Like a positive force walks in the room. You're in a miserable mood, but that positive person just literally lifts your spirits up and out of that.
Mhm.
And that's the energy that we're producing every time we all get together and everybody talks. And just like you and I across the pond, literally, you're down, I'm probably sitting on your head, right?
Uh-huh.
And that we're bringing that love and energy together in that realm.
Mhm.
And everybody that watches us, that energy brings around in that realm. Everybody that they talk to about us also is brought into that realm. I mean, it is bigger than we think it is.
Mhm.
And that pretty much sets my okayness. Like, I know where everybody is, and that feeling that we're gathered. We are gathered.
Mhm. Terrific.
Yeah.
Great. You just wanted to mention something about your sister who has passed in the conversation beforehand. Tell us the story.
Oh gosh. So, long story short, right? My sister and I, she's the oldest. I was the youngest child out of seven. I was six out of seven, so I was the youngest girl, and she was the oldest child. Her and I just didn't get along at the end of life. This, just how it goes. However, she had passed. Actually, she had passed. May 12th will be a year that she had already passed. Now, I'm sitting in my basement and I have been driving around town, and I will see like a hotel I know she was acquainted with. I would see a vehicle that she used to drive, a restaurant that we always used to go to or she used to go to, things like that. Just it was just kind of getting overwhelmed as I drive through, and I had that grief, and I'm like, why am I grieving over somebody that we really didn't get along? That's irrelevant. Spirit will tell you that. Anyways, I'm sitting in my basement and I'm crying, and I know I'm crying. It's grief, and I'm feeling that it's her. And I'm confused as to the reason why she's with me. She didn't like me when she was alive. Why would she like me when she's dead? But whatever, right? Whatever. But she also knew that I was in the community. She also knows that that I'm available if she's passed. I'm available for her to speak to. So I'm sitting there, and okay, so one day, actually, it was probably last week, I was sitting in my basement. I had nowhere to go, but I had this overwhelming feeling just to get up and go take a shower and get ready and leave. And I did that. And I knew, I was like, I don't know why I'm doing this, but I get up and I get ready and I leave. And I tell my daughter, I was like, I'll be back in a little bit. Where are you going? I don't know. I don't know where I'm going. And so I get out and I drive, and I'm like, literally, I have no idea. And I'm driving around. I was like, what am I doing? Where are we going? And I have this overwhelming feeling to go drive by her house, right? And I never do that. I never go drive. It's a little bit of ways. I never go drive by her house. And I finally am starting to like connect a little, like, this is my sister really wanting me to just go drive by her house. And so I start talking like she's there, like, okay, let's go drive by your house. And I get up to the house, and I kind of park a little ways away, and I can feel her as we're driving, really, like, oh, that's new. That's Jed, that house. And she's like recognizing things in her neighborhood. And I park a little ways, and I can just feel that she's looking at the house. Oh, he still has my car there, and he has a garage that I guess she called him a hoarder. She hated it. Oh, he's still messy, this, that, and the other. I can just feel this conversation that she's talking, right? And so I get up and I pass and I go in front of her house, and I could feel like she got out, like I took her home, like she couldn't find her house, she couldn't find her way home. And that is how she got there. Like she's like got out of the, like as if she got out of the car and said, thank you for taking me home.
Wow. Yeah.
This kind of feeling. And so it's hard to talk about that with somebody that doesn't understand these sort of things. But it was amazing feeling, that after in death, that she knew that I would do what she wanted me to do because I love her, right? It was weird.
Right.
I was, you know.
Well, don't you feel with so many of your clients, it happens to me, that someone who has passed, this will happen sometimes in past life regressions too, someone who's passed will come and it'll be sort of resolved. What if there were issues with that person? They'll come in. That's one of the first things that happens when I do a reading, and I'll say, "Who's that guy?" And they'll know exactly who it is. And the person will sometimes say sorry, or they'll sort of work it out from the other side. I just think that's beautiful.
I think so too. I think she kind of resolved. Uh, she wasn't angry with me,
Mm.
like she was in when she was alive. It was like we were back in the day, like we were sisters again.
So Sheila, you mentioned that you have sort of a feeling of calm that took took place, I guess, in your early 30s. Can you tell more about it?
Well, after my 20s, like I don't ever want to do my 20s again. It was enough to be there. I came out of my 20s, and like in my early 30s, I know I was doing a lot of spiritual work and stuff like that, and a lot of accepting, and there was just, divorces, this, that, and the other. And there was this one day that all of a sudden, something deep down inside of my soul, I became calm.
Mhm.
And I didn't know where it came from or anything. It was like a gift that was given to me. And at first I didn't think I deserved it because it felt so weird. It felt so, so weird. I thought I was dying. I was like, all of a sudden, I'm calm in this world. Everything's okay. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing ever been wrong. Right? That was the whole feeling.
Mhm.
And I thought I was dying so much. I went and took an AIDS test. I was positive that I was dying. Of course, it came back negative. But then after that, I kind of built from there, and it has stuck with me. It's never gone away. it doesn't mean that I don't get angry with people or I have an attitude or this, that, and the other. It's just that I can, in the worst days, I can go all the way back to that core inside of me and realize everything is okay, Sheila. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing ever been wrong.
Hmm.
The reason why I say nothing ever been wrong is because I've been on this earth doing the journey just like everybody else. I've been learning my lessons, doing what I needed to do, uh, experiencing what I need to experience, and I've gotten through every single one of them perfectly.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that's the evidence that I have going through that, and I just feel like it's like a universal gift that has been given to me, and I don't know why I got it. I don't know what I did to get it, or I would give it to everybody, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I know you would. Just this is sort of extra question I didn't really plan on asking, but I do feel like I'll talk to clients who are doing this kind of work, and usually they have been through they've had really tough experiences, right? If you read Linda G's book, and I hope you will, it'll talk about her life, and you're like, whoa, you survived that. Wow. There's really intense stuff in there, and that seems to be a consistent thing. And there's a rare person who had a wonderful life and they're still doing mystical stuff, but it's a rare person. What do you think? I mean, why do you think we have these intense experiences?
I remember listening to Wayne Dyer one time. There's a lot of controversy around him, whatever, but he had a message for me that day. And I do have Linda G's book right over there while I'm reading.
Oh, lucky you.
Uh,
It's hard to get.
I do. I'm also getting Hogarth's book. Do you know who Hogarth astrology is?
Sure, I didn't know he wrote a
He,
book.
oh yeah, and he's also I see squirrel, but anyways, he's also a fantastic illustrator, artist. And so I told him, I said, I'm getting your book. Astrology is a little Greek to me. I'm gonna learn, but I'm getting it because of your pictures for his illustration. Anyway, okay, back on track. Um, rephrase the question again.
Oh, I was just asking. My question is just how come it seems like people who do mystical work go through a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah. So Wayne Dyer said something one day that just clicked in my head. He says because he apparently in his life he had to go to an orphanage. His mother couldn't take care of him or something along that lines, right? And in his speech he said, "How am I going to learn self-sufficiency?" And he goes, "The universe said you need to learn self-sufficiency. Get your little butt in that orphanage."
Hmm.
And it dawned on me, like, how am I supposed to learn metaphysical and if I don't have nothing to come up against it or to compare it to? How am I supposed to be honest unless I deal with dishonest people? How do I know the difference between what I want in my life? I don't want dishonest people, therefore I have to experience it. And both ways, me telling a lie and how that made me feel horrible and being lied to. That experience right there clicked. I'm like, I I'm done with that. I prefer to be honest. It feels better, right? Things of that nature. That's kind of how it has gone for me. And I just got that message. I think it was in my like 31, 32 years old. I just got that. I'm
Hmm.
like, oh, that explains a lot, right?
Wow, that's great.
I I really do feel, and I have this huge knowing that I did not incarnate into the family that I've lived universes with, like many millennia with. I went uterus shopping, and I think we've talked about this.
Yeah.
I went uterus shopping. I needed to be here, right now, doing this job right here, right now, at this moment. And I knew I had to get here. And I just like any uterus that was open, healthy. Okay, all right, let's go here. That's kind of how it felt. And I'd come into a whole bunch of strangers. And
Right.
I'm pretty sure that's how they felt about me.
Right.
Like,
Right.
who are you?
Uh-huh. That's terrific, Sheila. That's just what I was after in this series of interviews. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Again, take a look at Sheila's marvelous channel, Celtic Tarot, Sheila, and eventually you might be able to make an appointment when the summer's over. Thanks, everybody,
Yes.
for watching.
Thank you.